University of Notre Dame proudly presents its marching band, the Band of the Fighting Irish.
Yes, it's time to go over live to the United States to Len Clark. Len, we've only a few more days to wait before the big game.
Exactly, and I was listening to Dublin City FM and learning all about field hockey, and it's going to be exciting. Everybody get out to UCD and take in that match when it comes up.
Well, that'll be June. We've a few months to wait. You'll be pleased to know I'm wearing my Notre Dame T-shirt.
Thanks. There we go. Hey, as you said,
thank you for sending it over.
Next Saturday is the Cotton Bowl. It's number 3 Notre Dame taking on number 2 Clemson. The Tigers rated second in the country. This is the 4th year that they've been in the college football playoff. The game kicks off at 4 o'clock Eastern Time at AT&T Stadium. A lot of anticipation. Both teams arriving in Texas today. They'll spend the Christmas holiday practicing, and then they'll tee it up on Saturday, and we'll determine who's going to play for the national championship. The winner of this game taking on the winner of Alabama and Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl that will be played after the Cotton Bowl on Saturday.
And the Orange Bowl is held in Miami, is that right?
That's correct, and that's the number 1 team, Alabama. They had the choice where they wanted to play, but Oklahoma is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Texas, and so Alabama says, we're going to take it down to Miami. Warmer weather, closer to the Alabama fans.
Well, that's something to look forward to, but we have to get over Saturday first. Have Notre Dame played Clemson in recent years?
They played them about 3 years ago. I think back in the 2015 season, they played down at Clemson, and what was notable about that game was the remnants of a hurricane, and so it was a 2-point win by Clemson. But they've only met 3 other times throughout their history, Notre Dame winning one of those games, going back to the Dwight Clark era back in the late 70s. But, that was in the past. We're looking for the future, and this game is really going to be predicated on the quarterback play. Notre Dame, once again, with Ian Book, who came in to replace Brandon Wimbush a couple of games in, but then Clemson quarterback is a freshman, Trevor Lawrence, and this time last year, he was in high school. Clemson started the season with Kelly Bryant, their number 1 quarterback, but Dabo Swinney, the coach of the Tigers, started interchanging them throughout the games, and Kelly Bryant said, listen, I don't like somebody coming into my territory, I'm transferring. So he transferred out after 4 games, and Trevor Lawrence, as a freshman, took over the play-calling responsibilities. So in this game, Declan, not Brandon Woodbush, but the Ian Book has a little bit more collegiate playing experience, and that might be a difference for the freshman Trevor Lawrence coming into play at this type of a venue.
Okay, well, we've got some audio, which you very kindly supplied to us, looking forward to the game. First up, Brian Kelly, the coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and this is what he had to say.
Starting on offense, I think, the running back, Etienne, is, I think he's as good as a running back we've seen since Georgia of last year, that kind of talent. The quarterback is really good. He's got great arm talent. He's tall and can see the field. I think the receiving core is on par with a USC receiving core. That's a pretty dynamic offensive set. Defensively, I think you obviously start with the defensive front. You probably have 3 guys there that could be top 50, top 60 players in all of college football. So that's a pretty good group. I mean, comparing them to maybe North Carolina State last year, in some fashion, LSU, that kind of capability on the defensive line. It's a really, really formidable group. So, just a really talented football team. But more than anything else, it's a team that's been there 4 times. So, they know how to win. They've been there before. They play with a lot of confidence.
Frank, kind of following up on that, as a coaching staff and players, you can control blocking, tackling, game plan, all those kind of things. You can't control the fact that you guys have no playoff experience, and this is their 6 games with their seniors. How do you bridge that gap to make sure that when you take the field on December 29th that you're ready to hit the ground running?
Yeah, I don't know that there's really any magic bullet that you have to get that, other than we have an experienced football team. There's a lot of veterans that have played, logged a lot of miles, played in some big games, but we're not going to be able to duplicate, 4 playoff games. What I think we've been really good at is staying in the moment, and treating each game as they have come, and we'll do the same thing here. Now, we'll have to get them ready for the moment of the game, and obviously it being a playoff game, there'll be a lot of buzz around it, keeping them focused on the game. But when it kicks off, really playing it as one. And they've been really good at focusing in on the game itself and playing one play at a time. So our strength is going to be in being who we are. If we try to be somebody else, that's not going to work very well for us. So our strength will be being consistent like we have been all year.
Good message there from Brian Kelly there, Len. Basically, if the guys stay true to themselves and present themselves as they've been all season, they should be fine.
One play at a time. And he mentioned the defensive line of Clemson. This is probably the best defensive line that Notre Dame has faced all season long. They're led by Clellan Farrell, who leads their team with 10.5 sacks. He's going to put pressure on Ian Book. Now, we know that Ian Book can run the football if he gets in those situations where he's flushed out of the pocket, but I really think the key matchup, besides the quarterbacks, will be the defensive line of Clemson, and that offensive line at Notre Dame that experienced some injuries during the season, and they've been trying to find the right combination. But another advantage toward Notre Dame, if that offensive line can protect Ian Book, Notre Dame has some very tall receivers. Chase Claypool that we've talked about throughout the season, and Miles Boykin. Miles was a difference maker in the Citrus Bowl last year. If Ian Book can take advantage of picking on the smaller safeties of Clemson, then it could be a long afternoon for the defense of Clemson. But both teams are mirror images of each other. Clemson does have that playoff experience that Brian Kelly alluded to, but this is going to be a very good semifinal game in college football to determine who is going to play for the national championship.
You spoke about Ian Book. We're now going to hear from Ian Book, and he's going to be talking about the focus of his team.
Hey, let's go out there and prove everyone wrong that's doubting this team.
Yeah, definitely. Our whole team knows that, and there's always doubters, and there's always a lot of people who hate Notre Dame, and that's just how it's going to be. There's always a big target on our back here when you come and play for Notre Dame. So we're all just going to use that, to fuel us, and we're going to be more confident about it. And we know, in this facility, and just in our team, we know that we belong there, and we're going to prove that on the 29th.
And then what would it mean to you guys to get this victory and to go play for a national championship?
Well, it'll show we're 1 week closer to our end goal that we've been talking about since the day after the Citrus Bowl. We want to graduate all our players, and we want to win a national championship. So we're extremely close, but we got 2 more to go.
Ian, you spend every single week of the season growing and progressing. At this point, do you feel like there is still room for growth, or at this point, do you just kind of rely on what you guys have been able to do?
No, definitely more growth. Every game there's a handful of plays I want back, and just want to grow on and get better at. And there's things I work on every day in practice that I want to be better at. So, none of us are too confident or overconfident. We are. We're just, excited, like I said, and, I think every week we prepare so well that it's just going to lead to our confidence.
Nobody seems to be losing the run themselves within the Notre Dame camp, to be fair.
Exactly. A lot of individuals around the country don't think that Notre Dame should be playing in the top 4 spots in college football. And as we always say at Notre Dame, is that either you love Notre Dame or you wish you did. But Ian Book is showing some of the confidence, saying, hey, we've got our detractors. We're just going to go out and play the kind of football that we're able to play, and let's prove it on the field. And so I think he's getting very focused, and he knows that there's a lot of pressure put upon his shoulders, and he's performed all season long. And he says, is there room to grow? Yes, there is. So this is going to be another learning experience game for Ian Book, but that learning experience could translate into something big the following week if they do defeat Clemson and by playing for the national championship game.
Now, if they do beat Clemson, a lot of it will be down to Notre Dame's defense. Here's Drew Tranquil.
Yeah, I was watching their game against Wake Forest, and obviously Wake Forest runs kind of a similar style defense with kind of the threat of Elko thrown in there. And I was watching their game, and first you got to stop the run. Wake Forest did a great job of stopping the run early in the first half. And then, Travis broke a long one, I think 50, 60 yards, and it was kind of opened the floodgates from there. You got to stop the run in order to beat this team. And then we got to be able to tackle on the perimeter. Trevor's going to whip it out there. We got to be able to tackle their playmakers in space.
ETN that's the best running back you face this year, right?
Yeah, he'll be the best guy, best overall guy we've seen this year in terms of just running with power, running with finesse, quick feet in the hole, being able to make guys miss.
He's only 200 pounds. Isn't it kind of surprising how much power he's shown this year?
Yeah, I was telling him, I saw him at the college football playoffs, and we were chatting a bit, and I was like, dude, you look a lot smaller in person than I thought you would be. On film, he's got flashes of some Fournette-esque, just running through tackles, running through guys. He runs a lot bigger than he is, definitely.
I heard you ran into Christian Wilkins too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I ran into him a couple times, man, in the weight room. It was the first time I saw him, and I was just sitting there with Jackie. We were just going to go have a leisurely, cardio day, kind of recovery day, and I said right away, I was like, baby, I'm sorry, I got to ditch you. I got some work to do, and I got after it. So, yeah, he's a good guy. He's a funny guy.
And then getting back to the game plan, what else, in addition to stopping their running game, which is, they're averaging almost 7 yards a carry.
No.
What else do you think needs to go in your favor?
We got to get pressure on Trevor, right? He's a dynamic guy, but he's young. He's a guy that if he can whip it to his first option, he's going to be really, he's going to do really, really well. He's got the arm strength to kind of put it all over the field. And so, we've got to be tight in coverage, got to get pressure on him and make him go through his progression, get to his second, third, and read. And I think when we do that, make him clutch the ball, we'll be able to get that pressure and force him to make errant throws.
Again, no signs of overconfidence there. Confidence in their competence. That's about all you could really say.
Well, Drew Tranquil was talking about how Notre Dame's defensive line needs to put pressure on Trevor Lawrence, the Clemson quarterback. So Julian Okwara, Khalid Kareem, and Jerry Tillery, they're going to have the responsibility of putting that pressure on the quarterback and forcing them to mix up their play calling. If they are able to run the type of offense that Clemson can do, he mentioned the running back NTN, that he is very dangerous, very similar to Dexter Williams, that he can get past the line into the secondary. And so if Notre Dame can put pressure on the quarterback, he's not that mobile, and as you said, he's very young as well, and that could be the difference maker as well. So really, Declan, the keys in this game, the quarterback play, Notre Dame with a little bit more experience, Trevor Lawrence, just a freshman. But there's that confidence level by Clemson. They've been in the college football playoff scene for the past 4 years.
How much do you think the experience of his teammates will provide some kind of cover for the rookie freshman quarterback of Clemson?
Well, he's going to get pressure. These guys are potential first, second rounders to the NFL draft. They're undefeated. They've won 13 games in a row. Notre Dame has won 12, but the Clemson Tigers won the ACC championship game. So they've got an extra game experience. So they're confident. They've got a great coach. They've won a national championship. They want to stay on top of the mountain. Notre Dame is a program that hasn't won a national championship in 30 years. The last time they played was in 2012 when they got blown out by Alabama. And so there's a lot to prove by this Fighting Irish football team to say that they have ascended back to the top of the mountain. So, as I said, this is probably going to be the most exciting of the two semifinal games. We know that Alabama is a very dominant club, and they should dominate Oklahoma. But this is the game everybody's going to be looking at. They're very similar. A lot of people are predicting a high score. I'm going to say this is going to be a defensive battle, and I'm going to give Notre Dame the advantage by winning 28-24. That's my pick. That Notre Dame will advance to the national championship. It's not going to be easy, but anything can happen. Just control the controllables, no mistakes, and as Ian Book said, let's just play the game that we are playing and play that we can play.
Just before we wrap, we're going to listen to the words of wisdom of Mr. Julian Love.
People definitely talk, and people love to talk, but nothing matters in any of that except for the guys who are playing on the field. That's the beauty of the game. People can speculate and talk all they want, but it doesn't affect the game at all. And so I think that we don't really care. We know what people are seeing us as and seeing this matchup as, but we take full advantage of that, and we'll do what we do. We have done all year and just compete to the best of our abilities. People week in and week out that say, oh, but this could be the week of the upset. Obviously, that hasn't happened because we are a complete tough team. We're going to show that 29th.
Again, Julian Love basically saying it's what happens on the field that counts. All this talk about different things off the field don't matter.
Well, and he makes his statements on the field. He is a unanimous All-American. The first time Notre Dame has had a cornerback All-American since 1992. He's got a smile like a Cheshire cat, and one of my favorite players on the team. He's going to get business. He's going to get down to business in the Cotton Bowl and get it done. But we hope that the defensive line will put the pressure on so that they don't have to go to the secondary and force Julian Love to make plays. But this is a great cohesive unit, and I think defense is going to be one of the other keys other than the quarterback play. And so it'll be very interesting. 4 o'clock Eastern time next Saturday, Declan. Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl, a place they've played before, a place they've had success, and some places that they've experienced defeat. But this is a new chapter for Notre Dame, and it's going to be very exciting down in Arlington at AT&T Stadium.
Well, Len, we're going to have to leave it there for now. Have a great Christmas, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks' time and find out how this game went.
Merry Christmas to everybody listening on Dublin City FM. You too, Declan, everybody at Dublin City FM, and as we say in South Bend,